Welcome to the Spinner Rack with your hosts, Brian and Junior.
So after a 2-week hiatus, the Spinner Rack returns with issue 25.
Oh, I was like 25.
Yeah, 25.
Airhead moment.
25.
That's
because you're airhead.
It's because it's been 2 weeks.
It has been a while. As always, I'm your host, Big B Brian Adams, joined by
Junior, co-host of Comics Remixed.
And our special guest from the 101.
This is Cary the Camera Guy.
That's right. I think you should sign the 101s out with Cary the Camera Guy.
I could do that. No, we do stay geeky, and that seems to be a thing.
Right on.
Whatever.
Hey, whatever.
Hey, whatever you can slap on a t-shirt.
Right on, man.
You know. So we have taken a 2-week hiatus. We are back. You know, we apologize for the wait. Shit happens. We have lives. We apologize. You know, hey, you can't do nothing but be real with them. Don't lie.
If anything, it gave you 2 weeks to listen to our back catalog.
You know, and I actually brought that up to Louis Bernal, and he goes, I've listened to every issue like 3 or 4 times and watched every episode of Remixed like 2 or 3 times. He's like, I need new stuff, man.
That's a dedicated fan.
That's fucking dedication.
Dedication, but at some point that you really need to go out more.
You should see the pictures this guy posts. He has one hell of a life.
Okay, good for him, man.
Hell yeah.
Partying with the wrong guys.
Totally. I think it's probably to pass time while he's rebuilding Transformers, which I think is one of the coolest fucking things ever.
Oh yeah.
I've seen him posting pictures on Facebook of like,
this is broken, I'm going to fix it with this, and you're just like, wow.
Totally.
Why don't you fucking make Transformers for a living?
Right.
I'd buy your Transformers.
Lewis has missed his calling.
It's never too late, Lewis.
So hey, back on track, issue 25, Big 25. This week we're going to be covering...
Wait, I gotta say, on 24, when we signed out, we said we'd be coming back 25 with a big special guest.
Oh, yeah.
It's not me.
No, it's not Cary, so...
Sorry.
Plans have changed. We decided to hold that off. We do have a special guest that we're going to put on the show. Arrangements are being made. I'm not going to say that person's name, but it will happen. We're gonna, since this is a weekly show, I can go ahead and say maybe around issue 50, which doesn't seem very far off when you think about it. It'd be like, what, 3 months from now? 3-4 months? Well, with the break. Springtime. Summertime.
April.
It'll be quick.
It'll be here before you know it.
Yeah. So anyways, on to the episode here.
Issue 25.
That's what I said, issue. Don't fucking correct me.
Our special...
horror and pop culture.
There you go.
Just in time for Halloween.
Just in time. Anybody got something to say?
Your show, man.
Yeah, come on, stop spacing
I
here.
feel rusty.
Anyhow, so in the last few years, I would say that horror has really taken on, for lack of better terms, a life of its own. It used to be kind of this thing where it was underground and you only seen it in the movies, but now, I mean, there's magazines, there's comic books, NECA has produced action figures for it. It's so much more mainstream. McFarlane, yeah. It's just so much more accepted
it's
now.
Probably been more in the last decade that it started, probably 10 years ago.
The question is, do you guys think that started with McFarlane? I think it might have. Once you started doing
with the toys?
With the toy. Well, I think the toys might have led to, you know what, these things are selling. Maybe if we put some more books out, some more...
I could see that.
It's a possibility.
Because he came out with what first? The movie Maniacs. Because I remember I had Freddy and Jason. And I had no idea why I had Freddy and Jason, because I couldn't stand Freddy.
Magazines like Fangoria that have been
but those have been around forever.
Right, but those were more of an acquired, like you knew.
What you said,
it was like underground.
It was
but now it's more mainstream.
Yeah, totally.
You know, a lot more people know it now.
Well, and also too, I think maybe with cable being as easily accessed as it is,
That's true.
And that kind of stuff.
Aren't there channel cable? Because I don't watch a lot of TV. FearNet. Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say, aren't there channels dedicated to just?
Well, even just Friday the 13th or whatever marathons they put on. You have access to that you didn't have 10 years ago, so you can see them more readily, I think.
It's definitely become a lot more prevalent in culture.
Now, let me ask. I got to bring it up. Do you think The Walking Dead has anything to do with it?
No.
Absolutely not.
The popularity, I should say. The popularity of The Walking Dead.
I think Walking Dead enjoys its popularity because the zombie genre has just fucking exploded.
Okay, now Walking Dead, is it responsible for the zombie genre?
Absolutely not.
I think
Dawn of the Dead,
the remake of Dawn of the Dead, Shaun of the Dead.
Those movies came out before Walking Dead, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So I would put it more on their shoulders than Walking Dead. I think Walking Dead enjoys its popularity because
right, and the original, Dawn of the Dead and Night of the Living Dead, have been cult classics forever. That stuff.
Which one was the one where the fucking zombies are running after your ass?
That was 38.
Okay.
Well, there was that.
Where they were like trapped in a mall. All I remember is the scene where they were trapped in a mall.
Dawn of the Dead.
And the dude was trying to leave out the back, I guess, to grab something, and not very racist. It was a black dude, and he's walking. He's like, he was like a zombie, like a Scooby kind of, and he fucking this black zombie starts darting toward the dude. And I was like, holy shit, is that racist because he's a black zombie that they're making him run? Because if it was a white man, would he have jogged?
All zombies ran in that movie.
It was a joke.
Yeah,
it was a real
black guy running, white guy jogging. No,
it was really a real good. The remake of Dawn of the Dead, if you haven't seen it, is a fantastic just reinvention of that movie and bringing the zombie genre back to something
in my opinion,
scary and creepy.
That took the zombie genre from being something that was fun and comical. Like when I was a kid watching this, I always thought, man, this would be fucking great. Like running around just bashing zombies in the head and shit.
Yeah.
But the remake of Dawn of the Dead, I think that was.
They said when they started running.
Yeah, Zack Snyder.
Made them scary because my fat.
Wait, Watchmen and 300 Zack Snyder?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
I mean,
actually, that was before 300.
Yeah,
right.
That's what got him those movies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it was a fantastic reimagination of it, and it did relaunch the zombie,
Absolutely.
thing.
Awesome.
It absolutely started the fire back under the zombie craze.
Okay, so but what do you think started the craze to get these zombie movies made? Like, because there was a dry spell. I don't
think it was a craze to get them made. I think it was everyone just, that movie was so well done that I think it inspired a lot of other people to go, you know what?
The first one or the remake?
The remake.
Right, but I'm talking like, what do you think inspired them to say we need to remake this film?
Oh, it's a cult.
It's a cult classic.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's been around 1970 something. George Romero.
Mid-70s, I think.
Mid-70s. So it's always been an underground cult classic. But what's it? It's dated. It's kind of like, and someone said, you know what? We can make this rock. And,
if you watch it, like
I think I've seen it.
It's just a funny movie to watch, but taken now and watching it, it's not terrifying
because so many people have already kind of done it in those years.
No, it's just the whole. Zack Snyder took the concept of the zombie and evolved it into something that's just truly fucking frightening.
Okay.
And that's the idea of the dead coming at you, running at your ass, trying to rip your face off. Whereas before they were slow shit, know.
And also,
they were dancing, like in Thriller.
Well, not only that, but too, I think the Zack Snyder one too. I mean, it showed the numbers game, which up to that point, you would see one zombie, you're like, whatever. You see another zombie, you're like, whatever. Mm-hmm. And they were showing these things that, one gets in, then two get in, then three get in, and you have this horde, and then it's just a numbers game, and you're screwed.
Right.
And they didn't really do a lot of that, I don't think, in the original.
I think they also did a brilliant thing with that movie is they played the first 10 minutes for free on TV.
Oh, okay. The remake? Okay.
Like leading up to about a month before it came out, USA did a special 10-minute sneak peek of the first 10 minutes, and the first 10 minutes of that movie were fucking amazing. Like it sets the pace for the whole movie.
Oh yeah, and also too, they did something real clever in this too, where they had like newscasts.
Okay.
I don't know, like I said, I don't know if you've seen it, but they have newscasts at the very beginning, and at the very beginning you see these riots in the street, you don't know what's going on, and they're like, we have reports of people. Is this true? We don't know. Do we know what's causing this? We don't know. They show this just whole apocalypse at the very beginning, and you're like, okay,
you're hooked automatically.
Oh yeah, you're like within the first 5 to 10 minutes.
Well, it's kind of like I don't know that like when the World War Z book was first published, but I kind of felt that way when I was watching the trailers for World War Z. Just the trailers.
Okay, but World War Z is the book is completely different.
Right. But I mean, like
the movie's just like a bastardization.
Well, see, because I'm going by what you said, you know, these apocalyptic looking news reports, but then it reminds me of the trailer for the movie.
Right.
So that's why it's like, okay, how far maybe the book took? I know you said the movie and the book are different.
Right.
But how much is it in common with that? You know, like maybe they took the idea for the movie from the Dawn of the Dead.
I think they took the name from what I understand.
Because that shit looks scary as fuck.
Definitely been inspired.
Because I can tell you now, like the trailers for World War Z, when they showed the zombies running up the hill, and all, that shit looked creepy as hell. I was like, I have to watch this movie. Yeah. But then I watched it. I was like, why the fuck did I watch this movie?
Really, it looked like fun.
You didn't watch it?
I did not. So I want to. My friends.
You know my problem with it is there's a few things, and really not spoilers. One, they don't really show you a clear shot of the zombie until almost the end of the movie.
That's what I heard. It's just a lot of big.
Yeah, it's a lot of like very quick camera movement. I mean, you can catch glimpses of them.
What I've seen of it, like I said, I like the swarm idea. I think that's
that is great. And it's scary as shit, and like put yourself in that situation. Like, wow, you're screwed. You know. But then it's the thing that I think got me of this movie is it's an open end where it's really not an ending.
Okay.
You know, you're invested in this movie. You know, you've taken the time to watch it, and you're going through it, and you're like, yeah, that's it. It kind of just...
So the ending's kind of just left to your interpretation then?
Yeah. Or not even left to your interpretation. It's like the whole thing. Well, if you guys read the book, because Vinny's watched the movie and he's read some of the book, or he's read the book as well. Some of it, the whole thing is, okay, let's find is there a cure? Can we find a cure? So it's just like, at the end of the movie, they find that there's a cure. And that's it. Like, okay, you found that there's a cure. Now what?
Well, I mean, Dawn of the Dead, if you see the remake, it's basically where you're screwed. I mean, it's kind of the same.
Yeah, totally, because if you stick around for the credits of Dawn of the Dead,
after
even
the
though they
credits,
escape, it gives you more, because they're videotaping shit.
Okay.
And they, find an island, they think they're safe, but the island's been fucking overrun, too.
I did see this. I did see it, because that sounds very familiar.
It's
so ultimately, you're just fucked.
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas, the original Night
Well, I
of
can
the
see
Living
that,
Dead,
though. That kind of gives you an ending. The ending is, there's no escape.
Right.
Whereas
the original Night of the Living Dead, is it just...
The
night just stops, doesn't it?
The night
or they get it under control.
They don't. It's an open ending. They kill the main character. Sorry if you haven't seen it. Turn it on.
Well, yeah, that's true.
The original Night of the Living Dead. If people who haven't seen it,
it speaks volumes about racism. Is what it does.
Well, I don't.
Well, because he's a black guy.
Well, I don't think
the main character.
So
no.
I feel
the main character.
The main character at the end.
They kill him at the end, but they're just shooting into the house. They think they're zombies.
He comes out, and it's totally clear that you can see.
Are you talking the original?
I'm talking the original 1968.
I don't remember that. I remember them shooting.
Now the remake, the black guy is a zombie.
Right. I remember them. I remember him being shot. I don't remember him coming out. I thought it was through a window that they.
Yeah. No.
But that, if you've never seen it,
I don't know what to believe because you're high most of the time.
It's
not lately.
That's another masterpiece. That's a midnight.
A great movie.
For the time. And you see the effects that they did. I mean, it's horrific. Some of those scenes in there, because there was nothing like that. No one had ever shot things like that, and it's all black and white.
We owe zombies to George Romero.
Yeah, I mean that was
even I know that.
That movie at the time, and I mean it still holds up. I mean the graphic nature of it is horrific. I mean it's.
All right, now let me ask you, because I'm not a horror guy.
Right.
I hate horror movies. I hate to be scared. It makes me look like a bitch. I hate it. I hate it. I don't like being scared. I have a very active imagination. I read comics. Anybody who reads comics has a very active imagination, I would like to say. I go to sleep. I have fucking nightmares. I'm the whole 9 yards. I gotta sleep with the fucking lights on. That's me. I'm a punk when it comes to that shit. I'll admit. But what is it? I'm going to ask you each, Brian, you first. What is it about horror movies that draws to you? Or just the horror genre? Like, what gets you going? Like, why do you find interest in it?
That's a damn good question. I don't know. I think a lot of it has to do with my mom. My mother, when we were growing up, Halloween, we'd sit down and watch these movies. And I can remember being 8, 9 years old and watching Night of the Living Dead and going to bed and hearing shit, just be fucking terrified all night. I don't know, man. I think it's that sense of the unknown and the fear, and it's a weird thing. And as I got older, it became more about blood and guts and tits.
See, that's one thing I never understood about these horror movies, but I'll get to that. What about you, Cary? What is it that draws?
You know what? I don't think it's so much it being scary. I think what it is, like I said, it's good storytelling. A good movie, just like anything else. It's a good story. It just happens to be a horror genre. And the thing that I like is when you see a superhero, movie, you're there to see the superheroes.
Right.
Actually, me and Brian talked a little bit about this before we came on the show and came out here. But the thing I like about the horror movies, I'm a monster guy.
Okay.
And I like effects, and I like a good bad guy and a good monster.
So you always rooted for the bad guy. You never rooted
not necessarily
for
root, but I found it interesting.
Okay.
You have a definite antagonist.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's a zombie, whether it's a vampire, and then you've got your group of good guys. And there's really no, it's very black and white, and it's very basic storytelling, whether it's survival, whether it's find a cure, whether it's, hunt the vampire, or kill the werewolf. It's a very straightforward, I think, storytelling, very straightforward format. Obviously, there's exceptions to the rules.
Right.
But I always like that. I always like, once again, to me, because I collect comic books and stuff, comic books are, here's your good guys, here's your bad guys, here's your storytelling, and hopefully it's a good story, and you get involved. And I think that's the key elements for horror that I like. I mean, some of it's over the top, but you have such a definitive bad guy. You have such definitive, well, for the most part, you know who the good guys are.
Right. The ones that are trying to survive.
And you shift through it. Or not even necessarily. Going back to the classics, Dracula, Frankenstein. You have, this is a bad thing. We need to stop, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And the process of whether they can or they can't. And I get involved in that. I think that's good storytelling.
Okay, now, going back to you and your tits comment, my thing with a lot of the horror movies I've seen growing up, there is so much gratuitous sex in horror movies.
DNA sells, baby.
Why? But
You know,
no. I mean, like here's an example. What was the movie that's Freddy versus Jason? Okay.
Well,
In the beginning, when Jason, like, when they got the boyfriend and girlfriend are having sex on the cot or whatever, and it's like really, really raunchy sex, and like the way he kills them or whatever. But then again, on the scene where the girl's transported and Freddy is the camp counselor guy, and he's banging the girl all like porno style and shit. You know, it's just like, why? What is the attract? Why put sex in a horror movie?
I think it's a cheap buck.
I think that it's just it's what you're seeing, like in Freddy vs. Jason, is just like an evolution of what you've got in the 80s type of horror movie.
Explain.
The 80s type of horror movie became, for me, very much about like teenagers, evil creature, go.
Right.
And teenagers are always
Their hormones.
doing drugs and having sex and getting drunk.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it just became a staple of the genre.
But why make it so? Why make it so pornographic? For example, it's like growing up, you see some movies where they're having sex, they're under sheets or something, and they're just moving around. Whereas opposed to, okay, you know what? Her titties are bouncing up and down, her legs are in the air, wishbone.
That goes back to
the filmmaker.
Yeah,
right?
I think that's on the writer, the filmmaker, whether they think they can make a buck and how they can make a buck.
Yeah.
You know, sitting there. Well, how are we gonna get more seats? You know, people into these seats. Well, it's a R-rated movie already. Let's show some, you know, pretty people TNA. And we'll get that draw too. I think I don't think it has anything to do with the script per se. I think it's a cheap moneymaker. It's a cheap pop. You know?
Okay, so now I got tons of questions here.
Sure.
I don't think ultimately they work because there's an assload of 80s TNA movies, TNA
Well, but it proves it doesn't work.
that have just
You know,
made nothing,
if
because
there's
you've never heard of them.
if there's no
Have you heard of Sorority House Massacre?
Yes, actually, I have.
Okay.
once again,
Fuck me.
it
choice.
definitely has an audience. I mean,
No, it
if
definitely
you want to
does.
watch,
I remember
TNA,
watching a horror
TNA.
movie as a kid on UPN or WP, whatever, Channel 50,
WPWR.
whatever. And I can't remember this fucking movie, the name of the movie, whatever. All I remember was it was at like a college or something, and the bad guy was like a jester.
You've named every bad like
Yeah,
80s.
seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah, it had to be late 80s, early 90s. And like I said, it was it was like at a university kind of place, you know. And he was like there's only one scene that sticks out to me where he's killing this kid in a bathroom stall, and then after that, like, they think to defeat him at the end of the movie, like, they show it's daytime, they show the university in the background, and they show like his hand coming out of the grass and like his little jester hat. I can't remember. I don't even know if it was a made for fucking TV movie, what the hell it
It
was.
sounds like some bad.
And once again, like Brian said, that is a staple of an '80s movie. That whole genre, because they had films that did work with that. For
Okay.
example, they had a Halloween that did that, but they did it right in that, or a Friday the 13th, where the theme was, hey, you know, my kid died before Jason. The original
Right.
Friday the 13th was, I'm going to punish these kids for having sex and
Yeah.
stuff like that because my kid died, and that was the premise. And then because you know,
Wait, what do you mean? This is Friday the 13th Part 1?
The
The
original.
yeah, the
The
original.
original.
A lot of people don't realize that the original was not Jason Voorhees. It was his mother.
Right, I heard that.
and her punishing these kids for having sex. So that's really, I think, where that
Yeah,
started.
because these kids, these counselors, instead of watching his kid while they were swimming, were having sex. So he drowned. So it's the bad teenagers having sex.
So that became a staple, and then I think these filmmakers caught on, going, well, there's boobs here, so
Yeah.
maybe. So it really did start at that point. It started, and like you said, it became a staple of those '80s movies. And sometimes, if it worked with the script, great. But other it was just, you know, let's throw some naked people
Yeah,
up there
totally.
and make a buck.
Now, I don't want to be a downer, but I've
No,
got to
be a
bring it
downer.
up. No, because it's interesting. Everybody's got their love for whatever, but in the world we live in now, okay, this is another reason why I asked you what attracts you to these horror movies. In the world we live in, there's all types of horror out there. You know, and horror come in all types, shapes, and sizes. You know, homeless people, you know,
Right.
drug addicts, pimps, prostitutes. You know, you have child rapists. You've got, you know, mass murderers. You got the fucking grandma who killed her grandkid the other day. You know, it's this weird shit with the wars in the world. All the wrong shit wrong in our society. You know, like, there's so much fear, there's so much hate, there's so much bloodshed. Why pay your hard-earned money to watch it on the screen and watch somebody else die? Like, is there, like, I don't get it. Like,
Well, ultimately, you're not watching. I'm sure some people are there to watch people die.
Right,
But
right.
ultimately, you're there for this. It's just the story of good versus evil, like Cary said earlier.
Okay.
And good always triumphs over evil.
Most of the time.
And
except in these zombie
unless it's a
movies.
fucking zombie.
Right.
Or it's a
in the thing about that too, I mean, you're talking about. It goes to the genres, I think. What you just said, I won't go see a slasher movie. Why? Because I can see that on the news. You know, once again, I talked to Brian a little bit about this just on the way here because we were just kind of BSing, and I had said I'm a monster guy. Unless you have something fantastic, completely outside of the reality, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see torture films. I don't want. I mean, that's not going to get my money.
So no saws or
I don't. And to this day, I don't get that for kind of the reasons you said. Why do you want to sit there and watch these people being cut up or tortured or whatever? Unless you have a very good story to tell. It's personally to me.
Wouldn't that kind of go into with the monster thing then?
No.
How so?
Because
monsters aren't as gratuitous as fucking Jigsaw.
Okay.
You know, if you
Okay.
think about
When
it,
I want to say monster, I'm talking maybe Freddy,
The villain.
Jason, Michael Myers.
do
Do they count as monster,
They're
or do you
monsters.
count them as slashers?
They're
'Cause you
monsters.
just said you don't really dig slasher
but
flicks.
you have a main antagonist who is completely fictional.
Right.
I mean, really. I mean, they have superpowers, or you can't kill them, or they're in your dreams, or whatever. It's complete fiction.
Okay.
You know, they're not even trying.
okay, it's not like some rich asshole in some Slavic country paying to torture you.
Okay.
You know.
I'll whatever the fuck. It was
Yeah.
called.
So
can't
I mean,
recall.
so those are the movies that I personally like because, like you said, I could turn on the news or read a newspaper and go, "Well, this is fucked up." You know. I don't need to see that. I want the fiction.
Okay.
I want the ride. I want the, you know, whether it's the good guy chasing the bad guy or the bad guy, you know, has its own personality and keeps coming back or whatever. I find that.
Well, see, that's what I mean. Like, okay, we'll take Jason for an example because of the machete. So he's chopping up kids for no fucking reason, just because he wants to or whatever.
But once again, that's part of the fiction.
But it's like
and
that's what I mean. Like compared to
revenge
for what?
for fucking those assholes having sex and letting him die.
So he's going out killing all these people just cause?
Well, because they're at Camp Crystal Lake.
Okay, so that's what I mean. Like, why
It's
watch
not like
something
Jason
like that?
leaves Crystal Lake and goes
Well,
somewhere
he did,
else.
but that's
So
that's
compare-
what
Well,
they
yeah.
started.
Like what is it,
Manhattan?
Manhattan?
Yeah, that was funny.
That
when
shit
he
was hilarious.
punched the dude was trying to
Well,
box with
that's
him.
the
But
thing is that movie that
See that, and then once again,
series
then they're
okay, so
Yes.
compare that. He's trying to get revenge on these kids for something that happened to him.
Right.
So compare that to, and like I said, I hate to be a downer, but
Yeah.
I'm putting the points out. A kid getting bullied in school decides he wants to get revenge and shoot up the fucking school.
I don't
against
see
all
the-
these
I don't
innocents.
see the comparison.
Yeah,
So
I don't either.
technically, well, let me finish.
Yeah.
Technically, these teenagers that Jason's going after are innocent because they were not there when they were not responsible directly for him dying. So technically, they're innocents. Now, because they're at the camp that he died at, he's going to go ahead and hack them up. So it's like saying the kid was bullied. I'm going to go kill all these kids at the school because I was bullied, even though like some of them, like maybe a lot of them didn't have anything to do with the bullying. You see what I'm saying?
I can't,
You get what I'm saying because you're nodding.
I'm not really following it. Like I said,
What he's saying is like these kids, okay, in Friday the 13th Part
whatever.
3, whatever. These kids that go to Camp Crystal Lake, they really didn't have any actual hand in his death.
They're on his turf. I mean, that's just really it.
So it's kind of just
it's the alpha male. It's the hey, listen, I'm the this is my turf, and I'm the supernatural bad guy.
It's producers, they're like, oh, fucking people like these movies. Let's make more.
Right.
And then I think at some point, like when you brought up 7, Jason Takes Manhattan, it comes
He was
into more of a
knocking
comedic
his head off.
element, which is there played more.
I noticed that towards the end of a lot of these horror movies.
I think our generation, we got exposed to what's a good word for it? It's almost like Splatterhouse type movies where they're not really as serious, but they have humor.
Well,
like Army of Darkness and Evil Dead.
Okay,
Army of Darkness
that's
is kind of a
comedy horror.
But yeah, it's
well, and you got to
it's a mashing of the genre.
And once again, doing it right.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a way to do it.
Because there wasn't really any. There was some gratuitous sex in Manhattan, but not like compared to the old ones.
See, I have my movies where, like I said, I can't sit here and bash horror movies without saying I've watched them. I've watched a handful of them growing up. My mom's a big horror person. My sister, a huge horror person. So they were always on in the house. So I'd always walk past, and I think that fear caught my curiosity. So I'd catch myself like doing one of these, like, you know, I don't want to look or whatever, but I'd end up kind of watching the shit anyway. And sometimes my mom would really fuck with me. She's like, "You want that new Ninja Turtle? You're gonna sit through this movie." I'm like, motherfucker. But this is for the other podcast. But there's just certain things, you know, like as I was watching, like I said, I noticed it got cheesier towards the end. Like you said, Jason Statham, guys trying to box him.
That's about
Freddie bringing out the power glove. You know what I mean?
That's about it's entertainment. It's about, you know, taking this iconic character, you know, monster, you know, this creation, and making a buck and just having a good time. Some of it works, some of it doesn't. I mean, there's a lot of crap.
Friday the 13th gets so involved in making fun of itself that by the time you get to 10, Jason X,
isn't it the one where he's like in space or some
future,
shit? Or?
Right. These people know what he is. They know what he's about. So they program this holodeck, quote unquote. It's not really what it is, but it's kind of is, where they have two naked girls who are like, "Oh, hey, let's smoke weed and have, you know, premarital sex." And then they climb in a beanbag and he like kills the shit out of them. So it's like making fun of itself almost.
I would have been mad. I watched that. I didn't watch it, but I'm saying the way you describe it.
I bought a bootleg of it 6 months before it came out. I thought it was horrendous, but that shit made me laugh. But no, it's gotten bad, man. It's me and him were discussing on the way over here. Is horror movies have kind of just evolved into shit, where it's really become more about like just the gore factor and the oh my god than it has been about like writing a good story.
Or once again, a main bad guy. I mean, goes back to liking monsters.
Saw kind of fucking embraces the bad guy thing, but at the same time, it's almost just exploitation of brutality.
Right.
And that's kind of why I liked it. I'm just a sick fuck, okay? I watched Faces of Death when I was a teenager.
I saw that.
All right? Which I think the guys that created that came out and said a lot of that stuff was bullshit. But there were other movies like Inhumanities. I'm just going to turn people into all kinds of bad shit here. Where like Inhumanities was just a documentary of like wartime shit, police footage, and executions from overseas. And I think it's just a weird, I don't know, a weird curiosity. There's the word I was looking for. It's a strange curiosity in some people to want to see this stuff. Okay. And to be entertained by that.
So kind of me going like this, you know, like I don't want to watch it, but, you know.
Like you don't want to see it, but part of you wants to.
Okay.
But not, you know, it's...
Right.
But at the same time, you're not going to sit down and be like, that was fucking just, you know, it's not Dracula.
Right.
Like I have a lot, I don't even consider Dracula like a horror movie.
Well,
because it romanticizes the idea of it so much.
Depends on my opinion. Right.
Well, Bram Stoker, I'm like the original.
Well, the original Dracula,
which in my opinion, was like the only one.
The original Dracula. I mean, are you talking, the book, anyways? I mean, Dracula's a monster. I mean, there is no,
you can keep talking.
There is no romanticism in that book. He is a monster, and they are trying to kill him. You know, same with, you know, in Frankenstein. Universal stuff did a real good job once again at the time.
Yeah, weren't those like there was nothing like it? So
no, and also too, if it wasn't, and the thing about monster movies, you know, you look at those. I mean, they still hold up. I mean, for what they are.
Yeah.
To see the sets and
some movies will always hold up.
And the acting.
Point, Friday. I don't give a fuck what year it is. You watch or where you're at. Friday's on TV.
That's a great segue. Yeah. So on that point, I'm going to take this opportunity to give us a little pause. Join us back in for episode 25, part 2. We're going to continue this conversation.
All right.
So I'm Big B as always. We'll be back with Junior and Cary the Camera Guy. Say goodbye, fellas.
Goodbye, fellas.